Now, it's probably been about 20 years since I last did a multi-day backpack, but my kids are a bit older and they tell me they'll be quite happy without me. So I bought a new tent and I planned a 3-day hike across some of the Lake District hills while camping on the 2 nights. Now, a relatively benign period of weather arrived in early March, just before coronavirus lockdown, and so I headed out. And I'll show you on here first roughly what I plan to do. So my proposed route starts at Legburthwaite over the Helvellyn Ridge at Sticks Pass, about 750 metres up, and then down the valley to camp on the hillside above Ullswater. Day 2, cross the road via Tarn to the high point of the walk, High Street, and camp anywhere between Tarn and Kentmere Reservoir, depending on the weather and how I'm feeling. Then day 3, High Street, over the 3 Kentmere peaks of Froswick, Illbell and Yoke, to the Garburn Pass and out of the Kentmere Valley on good paths to Staveley railway station. About 36 kilometres in total, which I hoped would mean I wouldn't be too tired at the end of it. But first a bus ride to Legburthwaite and then much faffing as I tried to take pictures on the first part of the walk. Well, I'm on my way. It's been hard work so far. It's a steep climb out from Legburthwaite, but I've just reached the top of the steep bit and the views are opening up a bit now and they look good. The sun's trying to show its face. Well, it's good to get past the steep bit. That was hard work. No videoing on that bit. But this bit leaves me just a little bit of breath, so I can talk here and I can just see the top of the ridge that I'm heading for. It's got a bit of snow on it, but not too much. Well, I'm properly up in the snow now, and for the first time I can see along the ridge to Brown Cove Crags, and of course above that is Helvellyn in the clouds right now, and enjoying the views. That must be Sticks Pass round the corner ahead. Doesn't look like there's a lot more height gain to go now. Just get round that corner, a few hundred yards I expect, and I'll be over. And the sun's trying to get through, but there's still cloud about. Let's have a look round to where Brown Cove Crags are over there, and the hills over the valley. Pretty claggy. I'm enjoying the approach to Sticks Pass. I'm kind of in the folds of the ridge here, and so the breeze has died down. It was getting pretty chilly. I've done my coat up right up to the neck, pulled my hat down a bit tighter, so it doesn't look like I've got too much further to go now. I did think I might wander along the ridge crest to get better views if I felt in the mood, but I think I'm going to play it safe, so I've got plenty of time to pitch the new tent, which I've never put up before. So fingers crossed for that. Hope I haven't done what my son did on his Deer V, was pack the tent without any poles. Yay, Sticks Pass. I'm here on the top of the ridge. I don't know if you can see them, but there are skiers up here. Rays it's called. I don't think it's going to rival Val d'Isère anytime soon. These guys haven't driven up here. I think the closest you can park the car is about an hour's walk away. Just run by the local club. Enthusiasts only. Well, that's the valley I'm descending down. Well, it isn't too bad. It's not soft enough for me to really sink in. They're famous last words, but so far so good. And it's not so icy as to need my spikes, not yet anyway. Right, over Sticks Pass, on my way down now, and enjoying it. It's so much better when there's no wind. It's quite cold, and with a bit of wind, soft snow. If I suddenly disappear, well, the descent from Sticks Pass has been a bit more interesting than the ascent on the other side. The snow's been softer and deeper, a few covered streams, that sort of thing. I've ended up on my arse a couple of times. Still, in my case, that's the safest place to land. Well, I'm enjoying this part of the route. I've come down from Sticks Pass. There's a sort of flat area some way down from the main ridge. The views change quite a lot as you move around the corners and the folds in the land, and you get tantalising glimpses of the ridges in the distance. High Street, for example, which is where I'm heading. A bit of soft snow. Where I'm heading tomorrow, all being well. Ullswater's just hoved into view. Just see the end of it, nestling there in amongst the trees. So yeah, I'm definitely getting closer. I think my camp spot is closer than I thought. Now I can see that. Yeah, because I'm in amongst the trees down there. So that's good. Oh yeah, I've got plenty of time now. I thought I was going to have to go much further. Okay, I've just dropped out of the snow now. There's a snowboarder and a skier had managed to make their way down all the deeper bits, almost back to the youth hostel, which is just below me here. So they've only got a short walk to get back. Well, it's a bit rough here. Probably not the ideal spot to chat away to camera. But yeah, I can see the traverse path across the mountain opposite. Right, that's the river cross. I'm just on a contouring path now. There's a bit of light left, so I should be able to get the tent up before it gets dark. Yep, really enjoying this last bit of path. Really good, bit rocky underfoot. Got to watch your step a bit, but it's solid, no bog. The views of the valley slowly expanding. Well, just a few hundred metres to go now. Slightly awkward ground to get to the camping spot, but then I'll probably faff about a bit trying to find a flat spot that's not too near a path. But the views down Ullswater opening up now, and I hope that when I get to the camp spot I'll be able to see up the other way too. So if I get views both ways and a flat spot, that'll be a result. Well, I'm approaching Lanty's Tarn, and it's a pretty spot, a bit dark and mossy. Nothing wrong with that, obviously. Campsite there would be nice, but it doesn't have the views down the lake, so I might keep looking, see if I can find it. Anyway, check it out. Well, I thought I'd found my camping spot, but then suddenly, just as I stopped, I was surrounded by sheep. So I've come the other side of the wall. It's probably taken me half an hour to get back to a flat spot I spotted earlier. This one's not so bad. It's got a view of Ullswater. It's not too boggy, so I think given that it's early March, that's got to be a result. So, time to get the tent up. That'll do me now. I must get some water. I'm really quite thirsty now. I was feeling pretty dehydrated, so I headed straight back to the tent and got the stove on for some food and drink. That's about to be my apple crumble and custard. This new jet boil cooker is amazing. It boils up a cup of water in about a minute. Night had arrived, and as I sat there in the dark, I felt a couple of spots of rain, so I moved inside the tent doorway to finish my cooking. Well, that's the view out of the tent door. Got some water, had a cup of soup, which I needed. As a little rain fell, I now had a headache, so I was pleased to finish the cooking, crawl into my sleeping bag and get some much needed sleep. When I got up in the morning, there was no sign of the previous night's rain. In fact, the skies were blue, the sun was out, and it was looking gorgeous. I soon had the stove going to heat up my Wayfarer beans and burgers, and then I settled down to eat them where I could enjoy that fantastic view down Ullswater. And I wasn't the only one out enjoying this bright and beautiful morning. But it was soon time to empty the tent and get on my way. The first part of my walk would take me across the lower end of Grisdale, and the clear air and blue skies really promised some fantastic views. And Grisdale didn't disappoint. I had to leave Grisdale to get to the other side of the Ullswater Valley, but the views over there weren't bad either. It's been a while since I carried a heavy pack for a couple of days on the trot, and I'm feeling it. And my 30-year-old sleeping bag's not as warm as it used to be, so I had a bit of a fitful night, so I could feel better today. So I'm just going to go as far as Tarn, which should make this an easy day, try and get a rest, and then go over High Street the next day. That leaves me a very long third day to walk out. I actually had a thumping headache, and all I really wanted to do was lie down in a darkened room, so I headed up the path really slowly and hoped things would improve. Well, I've reached Boredale House, which is the coll between Place Fell and the continuation of the ridge up to High Street. It's nice to reach a bit of flat for a bit, but I can see the path goes up shortly. Well, I'm above Boredale House now, enjoying the views down the valley. Probably going to get to Tarn about 2 o'clock, pretty early really, but I am tired and I'm looking forward to just sitting down, having a cuppa and enjoying the views, and perhaps better rested I'll be good for tomorrow. The path would soon level and views improve as I neared Tarn. Well, I don't know if you can see behind me, but what were little fluffy white clouds with paragliders floating gracefully along underneath them, now turning a bit dark, and the clouds looking a bit blacker than they were. So I wonder if the weather's turning. Anyway, it's reinforced my decision to stop earlier rather than later, and tomorrow, even if the weather is a bit ropey, I can just batten down the hatches and go over the snowy bits. I've just checked the map. From Tarn to the summit of High Street is about 4 kilometres, and Tarn's about 500 metres up, so the height gain won't be too great, a bit over 300. So even if I am a bit weary, I'm hoping that won't be too bad, and then I'm on my way down. Tarn and High Street, the snowy ridge behind, is what I'm going to go over tomorrow. I'm definitely going to stop here for the night. Just got to find a spot. The surface of the water looks slightly rough. It's just ice, so I expect I can look forward to a chilly night when the sun goes down. I hope I can stay warm enough and it doesn't become survival rather than a comfortable night. We'll find out later. I pitched my tent on that bit of ground sticking out into the Tarn. It had great views all round the Tarn and the highest snowy peaks could be seen in the background. In all the time I was at the Tarn, I didn't see anybody, not even a passing walker. It did make for a very peaceful place to stay, and it seemed a couple of resident geese agreed with me. Before I put the tent up, I was keen to get a couple of hot drinks down me, so I headed to the Tarn for some water. I wouldn't normally get water from something as still as a tarn, but I'd bought a water purifying device which works by pumping water through a very fine filter, and that should get rid of any nasty bugs. It took me about a minute to fill that litre water bottle. So stove on and hot drinks on their way. Well, I've got the tent up and I've had a couple of cup of soups which has cheered me up a bit, and I'm just enjoying the spot. It's a good place to wild camp. It was a bit of a treat to have angled tarn to myself, so I decided that night I should have a special meal to enjoy the ambience. So back to the tent to get the right ingredients from their poly bags so I could make my signature dish. That's the stuff. Wow, what did you expect? Yes, boiling water, that's what I call cooking. Very important you get the amount just right though. So that's dinner sorted. Having eaten, I went for a wander round. As you can see, balaclava's on. It's only about 5:30, but it's getting cold now, and it's much colder than where I was last night. I'm slightly nervous about how warm I'll be tonight. To warm up, I took a walk over the ridge behind Angle Tarn. And I don't think I've ever looked over the back of the ridge from Angle Tarn before, even though I've been past the Tarn a few times. But there are some quite impressive crags there. After enjoying the views over the back, I headed back to the Tarn for a wander and spent some quality time with my new friends. Then, as the light was fading, I returned to the tent. Nearly bedtime now, just time for a cuppa I think before it gets properly dark. After my nightcap, I crawled back into the tent to sleep. Shooting pictures in a tiny tent is really hard. I think it's going to be a cold one. I'm going to put all my clothes on and get my head down. Night. I crawled out of the tent to a beautiful morning, and rather bleary-eyed, I just took a little time to enjoy the scene before starting breakfast. Well, it's a new day, about 8 in the morning. It appears I survived the night after all. I'm glad I put all my clothes on, it was cold. The sun's just risen above the top of the hill here and the views are great. It was a bit frosty. I'll run you around the tent. So I've got a longer day today, over High Street and then all the way down to Staveley, which if I walk the whole way, I think it's going to leave me really tired.
So I'm going to try and get away quickly now and just plod my way over High Street and then see how far down the Kentmere Valley I get. If I get really knackered, I might move over to the road and try and hitch. I'll find out how I'm feeling in a few hours' time. Anyway, time for breakfast.
Rather like my signature dish of the night before, breakfast was as simple as adding boiling water to this. If I was somebody who practiced meditation, I think this would have been a good moment to do it. However, I'm not, so I just took my time over porridge and savoured the peaceful morning views.
What is this stuff? Look. I've seen it around the edge of lakes before. It doesn't look like spawn. You can't see anything inside it, but look, it's jelly-like. It's a bit after 9 and the clouds are coming in, so I'm going to get the tent down and get off as soon as possible.
Because I spent day 2 nursing a thumping headache, I really hadn't gone very far. So I still had 22 of the 36 kilometres to go. I planned to take it steady.
Well, I'm probably half an hour or so out of Tarn now and getting into quite a bit of snow on the path. And it's amazing just how far away these hills look when you've got a heavy backpack on. Well, that's High Street. That's my high point for the day. A little bit of work to do before I get there. Well, I'm wandering along here, alone with my thoughts, and I was reminded of something Kate Moss said. Something along the lines of, nothing tastes as good as thin feels. I think that was it. Well, I'd feel similarly about my balaclava. I'd like to say that no hat looks as good as warm feels. Well, I've just stopped for a breather at the top of the steep bit going up the Knot, which is the hill before High Street. I think the Helvellyn Ridge in the background there would grace any alpine calendar. Aha! High Street hoves into view. Not much height gain now. Just a bit of a walk, a little bit of a climb, and I should be there. Well, that's High Street behind me. I've got a bit of a down and up to go, but hopefully be on the top before too long. Quite a wintry scene up this high. Slightly off the path, but this view's worth a look down to Ullswater. Aha, just behind me is the rather lonely looking trig point of High Street. Nearly there, hooray! There's the trig point. Let's just have a quick look at this view. This is from near the top of High Street. I don't suppose this will do it justice, but gives you a sense of it. Well, I'm pleased to get High Street out of the way. That was my high point for the day and for the 3 days. So it's mostly downhill now. I've just got the 3 peaks, the 3 Kentmere peaks of Illbell, Froswick and Yoke, although not necessarily in that order to go. Once I'm over those, then it's all downhill, so it should be easier from now on. Hooray!
It felt like I found all the deep snow holes in the 3 kilometres from High Street to Froswick, so I didn't mind when I saw the snow thinning on the approach to the Kentmere peaks.
Well, I'm just about to start up, just trying to think which one comes first. I think it's Froswick first, then Illbell, then Yoke. and they're looking a lot bigger here than they did on the map when I planned the walk.
But a steady plod kept me moving uphill.
That's me on the summit of Froswick. I just came up there like a snail going up the down escalator.
Yes, my legs were feeling it, but after Froswick, the second Kentmere peak.
Well, there's Ill Bell, the highest of the 3 Kentmere peaks behind me. I'm just about to start that. So time to go into snail mode, I think. 5 minutes tops now. That's me, I've made it to the summit of Ill Bell. I don't know why, but seem to be 2 piles of stones on the top. But anyway, definitely on Ill Bell. As you can probably see, the clouds are looking a bit darker and it's just starting to snow a tiny bit. So I'm glad I've made the last peak before the weather really turns. It's been a good adventure actually, nothing very tricky, but to come across all the mountains over 3 days has been fun. And I didn't get too cold at night, which was one of my fears, but I started off, somewhere beyond the far ridge, and it's quite satisfying to just to have been out immersed in it for that length of time. And of course some of the morning views particularly were great. Anyway, I think I'll get on before the weather gets any worse. See you later. Yoke is barely a bump in the road compared to Froswick and Ill Bell. The summit of Yoke. All downhill from now on. The weather is definitely taking a turn for the worse. A lot of the high peaks are disappearing into the clag. Quite a strong wind has got up now, and it's looking pretty black over the hills, although a bit brighter the way I'm going, so that's good news. I'm on a good path here with no snow on it. No more falling flat on my face when I find a deep spot. I was just coming down here, and the bottom of this path is connected to the Garburn Pass, which I think might be a green lane. Anyway, I've just seen 3 guys on motorbikes tearing up the fell side and up the path. Not what you want to see really. I'm sure it's great fun carving your motorbike around this sort of countryside, but for my money these wild quiet places should stay that way. This is a welcome find. I've been on the go for nearly 6 hours now, and I've just got a 1 litre bottle of water with me because I got a water filter thingy, and I was going to fill up the litre bottle as I went. Of course the last bit has been all frozen, so here's a good chance to top up. I'm on the Garburn Pass now, just descending into Kentmere, and I believe this is a green lane, which means you're legally allowed to bring cars along here, but you wouldn't want to bring your family saloon along this green lane. So nearly down in the Kentmere Valley now, and once I get down there it's paths and road for a few kilometres to Staveley, where I can get some public transport. Yay! I'm back to snail pace now. I'm in the valley. I'm glad I haven't got any more hills to go up. I've got enough juice to get me down to Staveley, but I wouldn't want to go any further really. And I'm just thinking how great mountains are. You can go from polar wilderness and amazing snow-clad views, everything frozen, to what it's like down here in just a few hours. There's bird song, no snow anywhere, green, it's relatively mild. Great. It does make for an interesting walk. Go up mountains. I'll need my head torch soon, but there's still a little bit of daylight left to enjoy these rivers. Lights just about to go. I'm going to get my head torch out to do the last 2 or 3 kilometres into Staveley. So for this vlog, at least, over and out.